Many people love the new video game consoles coming out, from Xbox One X to Nintendo Switch, but some people have a different console in mind. I spoke with Jeff Flavin, who gave me some insight on his vintage video game collection.
I'm Jeff Flavin, and ever since probably second or third grade, I've really enjoyed video games. And here, 30 years later, I've decided to start collecting the games I love. Right now I have about 200 video games and probably 5 or 6 consoles. I have an Atari, I have a Nintendo, I have a Super Nintendo, a Sega Genesis, and a PlayStation 2. About 2 years ago, in a thrift store here in Russell, I found an Atari, and I just decided to buy it, and there was about 70 games with it, and ever since that point I decided to just start looking for my old video games. My favorite system is probably the Super Nintendo. I had a Super Nintendo for quite a while, and I enjoyed playing it as a kid. Also with my roommates in college, we just spent a lot of time playing the Super Nintendo. My favorite game would be Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for Super Nintendo. I love role-playing games, and Legend of Zelda just is kind of an open world feel to it, and it's a great game. The graphics were really good for back in the day, and it still holds up really well today. Another one of my favorite games was SimCity. I remember begging my parents for that game, and I really enjoyed it. The goal of it was to get 500,000 people, and I actually succeeded in doing that one time. I guess it was a real big thing for me at the time. Some of my favorite Atari games, probably my all-time favorite would be Adventure. It was a role-playing game, maybe one of the first role-playing games. You were basically this little character. It was a little dot that was going around a castle in a maze, and you were trying to find this cup. But that was one of my favorite games. My favorite game for Nintendo would have been the first Legend of Zelda. Once again, another role-playing game, but it was one of the first really open world, and the graphics, of course, were good for the time. I just really enjoyed it. You never knew what you were going to find. You could find hidden rooms, things hidden in bushes. It was a good game. One of the first of its kind, I think. My goals for my collection, I guess number one goal is to not pay too much for any game. But I have some games out there I really want. I don't think I want to get every game for every system. I just want to find my favorites. Shadowrun is one I'm actually currently looking for. I'm just trying to find all the old games that I've really enjoyed playing.
As it turns out, new isn't always better. Sometimes vintage actually beats modern, especially when it comes to video games. Reporting from Tribe Broadcasting, this is Megan Flavin.